Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are tuned in to the Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast, and I am your host, Dawn Dai, here to get you excited about your life so that you can live life on purpose and for a purpose. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Vitamin D, it's a pun of my name. My name is Dawn, and you get vitamin D from the sun, so I'm here to shed light into your life. And I do this with inspirational insights and conversations with celebrities and everyday people like you and me. Because if you want to be better and you want to do better, then you're going to have to be able to see better. So join me on this journey of living our best lives and understanding and realizing how you are your greatest asset. It's another day to live life on purpose and for a purpose. How you doing? I'm doing all right. Actually, I'm doing great. You know, I've been telling you how I really want to expand myself with this whole vulnerability and feeling and just using my time and just being present. Well, I'm doing that and it's uncomfortable, putting myself out there. I was thinking about something. I don't know if I shared it with you guys, but I had this good conversation. I was out this past weekend, hanging out, went to a pool party, and I met this young lady. We were talking about the vaccinations and the vaccines. Now, I'll be transparent. I am not vaccinated due to health reasons. And then I'm not sure what my stance is, but after talking to this young lady, I did get a different insight as to why the vaccines, like before, like I'll walk into some place and somebody's like, they don't have a mask on or they don't have their mask on. They're like, oh, but I'm vaccinated, as if that was to protect me. And I'm sitting here thinking this entire time is that you gotten vaccinated because that's to protect you. And so people were like, oh, I'm good, I'm vaccinated. Well, yeah, you're good, but that it's not like I'm good, like I'm being protected or whoever is the other person. But as I was explaining to this young lady, because she was talking about how she's just not sharing different things, like whether it be a drink, candy, anything that could, possibly transmit, I guess, the virus in a more susceptible way other than just talking with someone. And, I didn't think of it this way, but she says, the reason why she isn't, it isn't necessarily because she feels that she's going to be an endangerment to herself. But she was like, in practicing the ways of Buddhists, she says she's protecting the fellow man. And I said, wow, that's a different approach to look at it as, because I think it's always been sold to me like, oh, get the vaccine so that you don't spread it. You don't want to die, but not so in the sense, and when you're excluding people, and I say excluding, I know that sounded vicious, but like some theaters and programs, they're saying like, hey, if you're not vaccinated, you can't attend. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, okay, well, so what if you're vaccinated? Doesn't mean that you don't have the virus, but coming from a loving sense of like, hey, I don't want to take your life because I love you that much. Well, that was a different kind of eye-opener, and it made me really see it in a sense. And I guess with more findings coming out and understanding about COVID, I'm not saying I'm all the way in the bandwagon just yet, but I am saying that my eyes are being opened. My lids are being raised. I still do think that you need to take care of yourself and eat properly, but there is something serious going on, and especially with this guest I have coming up, the fact that this brother has died 4 times, and he had talked about how he had gotten COVID. It's very interesting. Dying 4 times, because it makes you really think about your life. Like, are you really living your life on purpose? Truly. And he had a different pressure on his life, because imagine trying to find your purpose, knowing it's worthy of something because you keep coming back. And then you think about other people that may have lost their lives, and here you are, keep coming back, and you're like, wow, I'm trying to find mine. So we really delved into that. It's quite interesting. And also, about faith. He talked about some things that he saw. And we also covered something about, and I guess it goes through life, that you don't know something unless you experience it, right? And I've talked about this before with my barber, Louis T. Powell. He says the journey is the experience, and the experience is the journey. So you can't take the journey without the experience, and you can't experience it without the journey. Can you catch it? So that's what this conversation is about. And I guess because it's like experience in life, like all too many times I think we stop doing things because we get afraid to live, afraid to take a chance, afraid to be. Well, gosh darn it, this guest coming up, his name is Arturo Prieto. He died 4 times, also known as what some people would call the Lazarus syndrome, in the Bible, death, come back to life, and so forth. And you can call this man a jack of all trades. He's worked in warehouses, construction, and as a technician. And actually, him and I, we met. He was a technician coming to my house for Spectrum for the internet. And somehow we got in a conversation about life. You know, Dawn is going to take it wherever it needs to go. And this brother told me, hey, Dad, 4 times. I said, what? Now, this is before Vitamin D was established under iHeartRadio. We started bringing it back again, but I knew I was going to have my podcast because, you know, I speak life. I speak life on what I want. So if you thought that he wasn't going to be here, he was. But I wrote it. And I'm going to make sure that Jeremiah puts the picture up so you can see it. But I wrote down his email address. I said, die 4 times. I even wrote, I said, he's going to be my first interview. Now, he may not have been the first interview, but guess what? He made it back on the Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast. And I guess that's a testament to say of just how short life is and how you got to go after there and get it. I didn't know I was going to be here, but I spoke it into existence. We talk about that too, how you have to be mindful with your words. So you're going to have to buckle up because this is going to be a ride, but a good ride. And I hope that you take away with something about value in your life, taking a chance on yourself, and also being able to see things from a different perspective. You know, you go through things, you experience some things, you start seeing things a different way. You start walking a different way. You start talking in a different way. So after you get done listening to this episode, I hope you don't come out the same person as you are. Hey, I hope you ain't the same person that started listening to this Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast when it came out. Because we got to be shedding light on something. Okay. All right, guys. So let's dive in so I can talk to Mr. Arturo and find out what it's like to die not once, not twice, not 3, but 4 times. It's Vitamin D with Dawn Dai. Hey.
Get your vitamin D right here with me and get excited about your life.
Good to see you.
Likewise.
I'm so glad you're here. So how's your uncle doing?
He's hanging in there, but you know, I still, you know, I wanted to go see him before he's gone, but he's still hanging in there.
Where is he at?
He's in Washington.
Oh, DC or the state?
No, the state.
Okay.
So he's in Sunnyside, Washington.
Okay. Well, my prayers have definitely been for your uncle.
Thank you.
But yeah, so you're here. So we met. How many years ago was it that we met?
I want to say more than 5 years ago.
It was not 5. Was it 5 years ago?
I've been out of Spectrum for about 2.5 now.
So at least 3 years.
Yeah, minimum.
So let me just tell you right now. I met Arturo. He came for Spectrum. I had to get some stuff done for my internet. Somehow we started talking. You told me you died 4 times. I told you I was going to I'm establishing my podcast.
Right.
And I even marked on the paper, I may still have the picture, where I put all your information down and I was like, you're going to be my first interview. So welcome to the Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast. Let me just tell you right now, Vitamin D is a pun off my name. You get vitamin D from the sun, right? And dawn means the sun. So I'm here to shed light into people's lives. This light comes from inspirational conversations and insights. It's just another way for people to look at things. And Arturo, if you weren't you, and we were talking to somebody else, I can't say that I came across someone that has died. Not just died, and then I'm talking to them.
Right.
So you are a walking blessing, a miracle.
Yes, I have. I've read, and also other doctors have told me of that one experience that even if I have a slight puncture wound or a slight hole in the aorta, I'll be dead in minutes. But apparently, my aorta was completely sliced, and it still took about 30 to an hour to get me to the hospital.
Okay, so we're going to talk about this because I know you're probably listening to talking about something. He's talking about the aorta, the heart, something is sliced. For somebody that's listening, who are you? What's going on? Who's Arturo?
I'm just Arturo, just trying to live one day at a time.
Literally. For a man that almost lost his life 4 times, like, what?
Yeah.
There's like so many questions, and we're going to delve into it. But I guess first, what are you currently doing for work now?
Back in construction.
Okay.
I'm working at LAX.
Okay.
Which I was doing a while before Spectrum for about 10 years. But then the whole economy went down in 2008. So, I had a friend of the family that said, at the time it was Time Warner. And he said, hey, come over here. You can probably get a job. So I applied and I got the job right away.
Boom. And then that's what God was like, okay, Dawn, you need to meet Arturo and have him on your podcast. So let's get down to the meat. Let's get down to the nitty and gritty. You've died 4 times. Wait, what does it mean to die?
Well, I mean, from what I've told from doctors is like literally the major one that I experienced was at 18.
Well, okay, wait, before you go to 18, so the 18, that was the 3rd time you died.
Right.
Let's go down from the first time and then we'll lead on with the story.
Okay.
So I know it's crazy. I shouldn't say crazy. As interesting as this question may sound, when was the first time you died?
I was 4 years old and living in East LA. And there was a guy named 𝘝𝘪𝘵 that was older, a kid, and he decided to push me onto the street. And it was a corner of Sono, and I can't remember the other street, but there was a person making a right turn, and that person, according to my mom, was drunk, but drugged me down, I would say about 100 yards before she realized that someone wasn't under the car.
Whoa, a 4-year-old body.
Yeah.
That's like what, 40 pounds maybe?
I don't.
I'm just guessing this little body. 100 yards. So you completely flatlined.
That's what my mom had told me. Yes.
Okay. Then death number 2.
2 was, once again, I don't really remember. I was about 11 or 12 years old. I was riding my bike, and I mean, all these incidents I remember like they were just yesterday. So I was riding my bike on Saturn Avenue in Huntington Park. And right when I came to Stafford, a car just, I guess, didn't pay attention, hit me real hard, knocked me out, I don't know how many feet away. And all I remember is waking up. Here's a funny thing. I woke up in the house of the parents of my 4th grade teacher's assistant.
What?
Yes. I couldn't believe that.
4th grade teacher's assistant. Wow.
Yeah. And she basically told me I was out. They were calling 911. I was out for about 30 minutes. And at that time...
When you say out, does that mean you were dead? You were knocked out? Or you?
I don't remember exactly, but I was out. And she thought I was dead. That's what she had said. So I don't know exactly what happened, but she said I just came back to. The ambulance checked me out. They wanted to call my parents. But at 11, 12 years old, I was just like, nah, I'm fine. You're like, are you sure? They wanted to take me into the hospital, check me out. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I was just scared to get in trouble by my parents.
Right. You're like, I'm okay. Let me just make it
let
back
me go.
home.
I'll be fine. I don't want to cause any bills with my parents or anything. So I was, and after that, I kept in contact with the teacher assistant. I can't remember her name, but just for a while, she just wanted to check up on me to see if I was okay.
To see if you were okay.
Yeah.
So now the 3rd and the 4th time you remember the most. But hold on.
Yes. The 3rd one was the major one.
So, all right. So now this is where I got to hold on my bootstraps a little bit because now we're about to really get into detail. From LA, you do believe in God.
Definitely.
And now we're going into the 3rd part of you dying. So just because now we're really stepping in the juice of it. Growing up, was death something that you feared?
No.
Did you have any recollection or understand what death was? Like me, I didn't realize what death, maybe kind of, sort of, when my grandfather died, I was in 1st grade. So what is that, like 6? But not really.
Not really. I mean, I remember as, at 4 years old, and I believe that's any kids nowadays, we don't really think about death. We don't know what it is yet. I remember at 4 years old, I was jumping off of roofs just for kicks and giggles.
Me too.
So, I mean, we don't really think about it. We just try to live our life one day at a time. But at 18, that was the waker up for me.
What was your life like? What was going on?
I mean, as a teenager, I was into a lot of heavy, bad stuff, gangs and selling drugs, trying to, be me, make some money. But then at 18, I already had my first daughter. So I started working 3 jobs. So what happened was, since I was working 3 jobs and somehow the 3rd job that I had just got in human resource, there was a girl named Yolanda that I went to junior high school with. So I never gave her my, information other than she already had it because she worked for HR. So then what happened was she ends up calling my house to ask for me. And I was already at my other job at working at Sears. And apparently who picked up was my ex at that time. And she pretended to be one of my sisters. So this person was just giving my ex was giving her all this information to my new ex.
Your ex was talking to...
Well, she's an ex now, so...
Okay, so before she became an ex, but she was just this woman that worked at Sears and was giving your, at the time, current ex information.
So she, she asked questions, oh, so how do you know him and all this.
Wait, what is she calling for?
To talk to me.
Okay.
And I didn't tell her that I was already with someone at the time. I thought it was just more professional because I was going for a job and she happened to work there. But I never told her that I was with someone because we never got into that kind of conversation.
It wasn't that dynamic. You're just talking. Yeah.
So my ex at that time had picked up with the call and she got all this information and she got it twisted. She told her all the stuff that we did when we were in junior high. She freaked out and thought it was now.
Oh, wait, which one? The ex? That was
okay, my ex in junior high was Yolanda.
Right. And she's not the one that called.
The mother of my first little girl is Erica.
So Yolanda's calling Erica.
Right.
And Erica hasn't disclosed to Yolanda.
Right. So she just freaked.
Oh my God.
They didn't get all the information correctly. Went to my job at Sears and she went over there on a bus.
Yolanda?
No.
Erica?
Yeah. And my foreman at the time had told me, hey, your girlfriend's out there. I'm like, okay. So I go out there and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And she tells me that my daughter, Crystal, was sick. I'm like, okay, then why didn't you ask one of my sisters to take her? Well, I'm here. Let's just go. I thought something was going on. I'm like, I called my house. I talked to my sister and she's all like, and this is what got me going is I don't understand why my sister told her to tell me, yes, tell him that she is sick. So my sister had a little bit of, to get me going to go home with her.
Right. Okay.
So as I was driving, and this is in the old Sears on Olympic and Soto, where I was working, there was a warehouse across. So when I was driving home down Santa Fe, and she just came out the wall. Who's Yolanda? At the time, it didn't click. I'm like, I was just, the only Yolanda I know is from junior high. He goes, no, who's Yolanda? And then I said, I'm telling you who she is. And then she just started asking questions as in, did you sleep with her? Did you do this? Did you do that? I'm like, whoa, no. So, I'm getting frustrated because I didn't do anything. And she just kept on. And then finally I got so upset that I told her, yeah, I slept with her. I did this, I did that.
Oh my gosh.
Not knowing what she was capable of doing, she had in her right hand, she had it on her side. And she
had what on her side?
She had a knife.
What?
So as soon as I told her, yes, I did sleep with her, she freaked out and just got the knife and stabbed me right in the heart.
Whoa!
Yeah. So at that point, I just saw the knife coming on. I'm looking and I just see blood gushing out.
Wait, hold on.
And I'm driving.
Hold on, wait. This is a clear reminder when they say, Jesus, take the wheel. But wait a minute. The knife went into your heart, not in your body, in the area of your heart. It went through your heart.
Not through my heart. It sliced. Well, I say heart because she ended up slicing my aorta.
Oh, Heavenly Father.
Yes.
So what happened? So, she stabs, you're bleeding.
Right. So, like I said, all I remember is seeing the blood gushing out. And I'm just seeing my body just falling towards the middle of the truck, of the seat. So I'm assuming she pushed me to the side and she pushed me down to the passenger floor, I guess. And she drove me to her mother's house.
How? She's driving or you driving?
I was driving, but then I'm out. So she pushed me to the side. She hopped on to drive and then she drove me to her mother's house. So her mother, from what I heard afterwards, is that she told her that to go ahead and slice herself and plead as self-defense. But meanwhile, they had called the ambulance because her mother had called the cops on her, to make it seem like she was doing the right thing. But at the same time, she advised her to slice her wrist and make it seem like it was a self-defense. But it was not only one stab wound to the heart. She got multiple stabs wounds on my arms, on my lower abdomen, my arm, my wrist. I don't know what happened after she stabbed me that first time. I just passed out. But then I also heard from the ambulance because they wanted to press charges against because I was fighting with the ambulance. But my body was still on shock. I didn't know what I was doing.
You were fighting with the ambulance?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Okay.
Well, I mean, if I was in the truck, my dad's truck that I was driving, and she pushed me, at that time I'm losing blood, but I didn't know what was going on. Maybe I was trying to, fight her off, and she was still stabbing me. So when somebody like the ambulance tried to put me into the gurney, maybe I was fighting them because they said I did.
Or the adrenaline.
I don't know exactly what happened.
So at what point did you, so you remember all of that and then after that you died?
I don't remember what happened. I just know what they told me because the detectives came and talked to me and they wanted the ambulance wanted to press charges against me. But then again, I don't know what happened. So they couldn't press any charges. I don't know what I did to them or anything. I'm just going by what the detective had told me and what happened afterwards. And all I remember is waking up in the intensive care with, God, I looked like an octopus with all the IVs and everything because I had IVs on my chest, on my arms, on both arms, on my legs. I had 2 tubes in each lung.
What?
Yeah. I had I couldn't breathe. Yeah. I mean, I had the whole.
I hear you saying this, and it just, like, one thing that I talk about on this podcast is how you are your greatest asset. And it's all about you living your best life on purpose and for a purpose. And it makes me wonder, like, you died. This is the 3rd time you died. Like, what is God positioning in your life? But we're going to get there. But it's like, what is it that you're here for something?
I know. And it was a big journey afterwards, trying to figure out why. But,
did they say how long you were dead for?
They said I had stopped, my heart started beating right when I got into surgery. So, and the surgery was about an hour. But somehow that doctor did not give up on me. He did what he had to do. He mended put some mesh around my aorta and just, God was there. Because I got to tell you, after everything, all that happened, even though I woke up in the intensive care, I didn't really know what was going on until I got out of the intensive care.
What?
A week after, and the doctors were really surprised on the recovery that I was doing because I was out of the intensive care in a week. That's when it started getting more interesting. Once I got out of the intensive care, the nurse came to me and told me that a priest was going to come and talk to me and tell me, hey, the priest wants to know if you had any life after death experience. And I explained to her, I did.
You did? What happened?
I saw my body walking off I saw myself like in a gurney in a bed, and I saw myself walking away. And it was just like a peaceful, I mean, like no stress on your shoulders, nothing. It felt so peaceful. I mean, it's one of the things, because for the first time when I went on an airplane, it's like if you're on an airplane, you're on top of those clouds and you see that really bright light. Well, that's how I felt. But like, just no stress, nothing. Just, I mean, it was, to me at that time, it was a wonderful experience. But then I didn't want to go through that. I wanted to come back.
Oh, so you knew like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. So do you think that you knew that you were dead? Did you know what was going on?
I didn't know. I have an idea, but it could have been a dream, but I doubt it. It was.
So do you know what made you come back?
Will.
What I'm saying is, we can say will, but I'm saying like, okay, based on what you said, I'm feeling this whole peaceful moment. I see the sun or, just brightness, and the cloud is just all joy. What said, oh, turn about this way?
No, there was a big voice that said, it's not your time.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So was this voice like, you heard the language, or was it like something that you felt?
I heard the language.
It was it
was a deep voice that said, it's not your time. Kind of like you see in the movies, but I mean, I'm not going to say it was a movie, but it kind of felt that way. But
you think that was God?
It had to have been either that or a guardian angel.
But it was a male's voice?
Yes, definitely. So after that, I walked back into my, my body, and then, I woke up in the intensive care.
Now, when did you remember that? When you woke up, or after the priest had asked you?
After I got out of the intensive care, I already knew. I knew what had happened after I came out of when I woke up from the trauma, I guess, because I wasn't waking up when I was in intensive care. So once I woke up, I already knew what was going on. I already knew the experience that I had, but I couldn't really talk because but I did tell my brothers and sisters. I wrote it down in a pad of what had happened.
Could you hear?
Yeah.
So you only heard when you started writing, or when you were unconscious during that transitional moment? Because they say that's the last thing to go when, loved ones are transitioning over.
No, this was after, because I had the, whatever you call it, to breathe.
The trachea?
Yeah. So I couldn't really talk to my brothers and sisters when I came out of the from all the medication or even unconscious or whatever I was in. So I talked to my brothers and sisters. They didn't want to believe it, but, it happened.
So what do you say now? We talking about the third time you died, and hearing that voice. Like, what do you say to people that don't believe in a bigger power or a God?
Well, here's the thing that was more even believable. When I came out of the intensive care after a week, and I had mentioned that the nurse had said a priest wanted to talk to me. So I was like, okay, I don't have a problem with that. My family came in. So it was a room, and the entrance was to my left. And that was only a door in and out. So they came in. I'm sorry, let me back up. Before they came in, a gentleman came in a brown gown. And he was a dark man. And I, since the nurse already said...
When you say dark, let's just be clear. African-American?
He was from Peru.
Oh, okay.
Well, after I know this. But at the moment,
just a brown skin complexion. Okay.
I would have said he was black. But
Mm-hmm.
When he came in, I didn't think nothing of it because the nurse said that a priest was going to come talk to me. So he was explaining all these reasons why I was here, why am I still here. But he was about to tell me why God had given me a second chance. And right when he was about to say something, my parents walked in. And when I turned to look to my left, he disappeared. But at the time, I was like, okay, maybe it was all the medication that the morphine or all the pain medication that I was in. But then when my parents were there talking, maybe a half hour they were in there, another priest came in. And I still remember the guy's face.
He was the same guy?
No. It was a white man, maybe about 6'1", salt and pepper hair. He had the whole priest tie and everything. And he wanted to talk to me. He said, don't worry, I'll come back. I'm like, wait, but there was another priest. It was like, no, I'm the only one.
What?
So then I explained to my mom. And I told my mom what had happened. And he asked me, well, what was he wearing? I told him he was wearing a brown gown. And he was a black man. And my mom just dropped down on her knees and started praying. So according to my mom, it was St. Martin.
Oh, St. Martin de Porres.
Yes.
And he always had the animals around him,
Yeah.
right? I know that because I went to Catholic school. What?
Yeah.
What did she say that I can't recall what St. Martin is known for or what he does?
After finding out who he was, I kind of researched him, and basically he was from Peru, and they had him in jail in Peru, but somehow he would disappear from his jail back then when he was alive, and he would heal people. He would appear people's
Amen.
and just heal them. But when he was about to tell me what was the reason why God gave me a second chance, that had me going for a lot of years, trying to figure out the answer myself. I went to a Baptist church. I went to a Catholic church. I went to a Christian church. I even talked to Jehovah's Witnesses. None of them were able to give me an answer.
What's the answer you felt like you were looking for?
Purpose. So, and I would say maybe about 20 years ago is when I found out the main reason. Well, not the reason, but the reason. The reason was I was there in front of me.
What do you mean by that?
Just to look forward to what life is about. Change your ways.
Catch it.
Be a better person.
Catch it.
Do the right thing.
Catch it.
And that's where I'm at now, and as we get older, we just get wiser.
It's so interesting because it's like we get wiser as we get older, yet there's so many more days behind us than there are in front of us.
Definitely.
And it's just like, my, oh my, we get to the point of the appreciation or understanding the reasoning when time is so precious and it's so little.
Yeah.
So were you a believer? Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, believer, my mom always said, there's a guardian angel that I pray for just for you. And I'll say it to this day, that's not a goddamn lie. I am still here. And if it's a guardian angel, God, whoever, I am still here ticking. And I know there's more because everything happens for reasons. Everything happens for a reason.
And this is when everything is starting to hit you the third time.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, at this point, how are you not even afraid to live your life? Like, are you afraid to do certain things? Does anything scare you at this point? Because it's like, everybody is like, oh, the dying, it's done. You like been there literally, right. And I've done that. At this point, 3 times over.
Right. It's getting scarier, yeah, as I get older. I don't feel the same when I was 20. I value my life a little bit more and value everybody else's.
What does that mean to value your life, though?
Appreciate.
What does that look like?
Don't take your life for granted. Don't do the right thing. Listen, think before you react on your impulses. That's where I'm at right now. Because I know we all have those impulses where we just want to react to stupidity, people getting you upset, road rage.
Yeah.
Just in general, even, working at a job where your boss pisses you off, you got to just bite your tongue or just hold back. Just crazy people out there, just ignore them. Because I wasn't that type when I was younger. I interact, my impulses were crazy. I was a very, very, I didn't take any BS from anybody, put it that way. People said I was a bully when I was a teenager. I was a bully of the bullies.
Oh, you were that guy.
Yeah. I didn't like anybody getting bullied. So, and I didn't care what you said or what you did. I'm going to fight you. And my impulses got me in trouble a lot. So that's why I'm saying that I try to control my impulses now, so I don't get in trouble and live the right life.
The right life. So here you are. Now, when did you piece together that perhaps the first priest, that no one can recall who he is, where he came from, or that he does exist? How did you realize that he was from Peru? Or did it just come together once you spoke to your mom and
when
after the description? Okay. I didn't know if he revealed that as well.
No. After I told my mom how he was dressed, like I said, she dropped down and just started praying. And then that's when she had told me that it was San Martin de Porres. And I got chills.
I'm just sitting here chills thinking about it, because everything that you're saying, like, I talk on this podcast. I'm always like, oh, you only got here a finite amount of time. Live your life on purpose, take a chance. But to be in a situation or wear shoes to where it was gone, not once, not twice, we're at 3 times right now. I don't know if I'm fearing anything, if there's anything that I'm not doing. Right. How, they say like, what do they say? Too much is given, much is required. Right. And it's like this understanding and this appreciation that you have of life, because you see something that no one else has seen. Like, it's one thing for people to walk around and say, I don't know what my purpose is, or I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing. Your purpose screams out differently because you're constantly being pulled back. Right. So that whole thing that you were talking about, the discovery of why I'm here, I can only imagine what that, and I use this loosely as weight, but how you carry that. So here we are, the third time, which you were 18. So we got 4 years old, 12 years old, 18. And then 18 later, you died again? Yeah. What happened, Arturo?
I was 2008. November.
2008. This is the same time with the transition with the economy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was in November, and it was a day before Thanksgiving. I was having some really bad pains in my right side abdominal side.
Maybe appendix?
Well, you have your internet in the palm of your hand. So right. I started doing the research, and, I had a rare one. I didn't have the pains, but I had the diarrhea, and I tried to explain to the doctor. I went to the emergency and I told him, hey, do you think it's possible the appendix? I have this rare, but it doesn't hurt. But do you think it might be an appendix? He checked me. Nah, you have gas. Go home. I go home. I send my son to go buy me some for something
Pepto-Bismol,
something for the diarrhea, right?
Yeah.
So he brings it back. I take the medication, and then my girlfriend at the time saw the medication that my son had bought me, and he bought me X-Lax instead of. So it made it worse. So Thanksgiving Day, I was moaning. I was just laying down. I was like, no, there's something going on. This pain is just getting worse. So then after Thanksgiving, I go to another urgent care, and he checked me, and he just looked at me and said, you need to get to a hospital right now. So I was like, okay, what's going on? You just need to go. Tell them you have an abdomen, your appendix. He's basically say your appendix is ruptured.
That's poison.
Yeah. So the urgent care that I went to was in Lakewood.
And where are you at?
I went to Lakewood.
Oh, okay.
So the nearest hospital was Long Beach Memorial. So my girlfriend drove me to Long Beach Memorial. And they did the surgery, and it turned into a gangrenous appendicitis.
What does that mean?
Means it was green. So during the surgery, I had a heart attack and my heart stopped.
What in the world?
Yeah. I mean, once again, I wake up not knowing, they tell me these things afterwards.
Did they say how long your heart stopped for?
No, I was just like, I'm awake, I'm alive. But I had at least, I want to say 6 to 8 doctors in asking me, are you okay? I'm looking at them all puzzled. Well, you guys are the doctors. You guys tell me. Well, your heart rate's at 130 and you're just laying there. I'm like, well, I came in here for my appendix and I don't know what's going on. So they told me I suffered, my heart stopped and now I have congestive heart failure.
How long did it stop for?
Like I said, I have no idea. I know they had to shock me to bring me back.
What?
Yeah.
And you don't remember anything? It was just like I was sleeping, I came back up. What is God doing in your life?
I don't know. Trying to put me in the right direction. I need to shape up or something.
Well, let's expound. You said something. You said after the third time dying, you kind of did like a surfing around different religions or denominations.
Right.
After these moments of dying, it's safe to assume you believe in God.
Right.
Which religion or what do you practice?
Catholic.
And when you were, why? Why is that?
My parents brought me up as Catholic, and, Catholics are the ones who believe in saints. So I believe in saints, so I'm going to stay Catholic.
Right. If you say you had one that came to visit you.
And I cannot deny that.
It's, and it's so interesting. Like, what are your thoughts on other religions in general? Like, do you feel like it's wrong or what's the right way?
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. When at 18, I was not very, religious. But I will tell you this, that when I came out of that, I had a whole different perspective of God. Like he wants me to share information with other people.
Amen.
And then I'm not trying to preach. And I've told people these stories over and over. And I said, don't look, I'm not here to preach, tell you that Catholic is better or whatever. No, God just wants you to believe in him and itself, period. But I don't think it's right and this is afterwards. I didn't have any say so of, why Jesus is on a cross. We all know why he's on a cross. But after that, I felt that we shouldn't remember him, how he died, but what he died for. I feel that it's bad, and I've told a few people about it, but I don't think we should have God on a cross, but just have Jesus there, but not showing the cross. I mean, would you want to have a loved one on how he died? Right. And have him on your chest on how he died, whether it's a car accident or he got shot. Or, you can really want that remembrance, carried around you. It's what he died for, not how he died.
And so, like myself, I went to predominantly Catholic schools. I was raised up as Baptist. But just living life, or my experience with living life, I should say, similar to what you said, as far as is just getting to know God.
Right.
And from my understanding and how I've been able to move through life is just to realize that these different religions or denominations is just like having a native tongue or a certain clothing or seasoning, something that you can relate to and that you can understand, because at the end of the day, like you said, it's about this relationship of knowing who I am.
Right.
And if we're made in the image of likeness, like resides in each and every one of us, you can't be this other person that dictates who God is in your life. Like, I can't tell you who God is in your life because that's based on what your experience have been.
Right. So ever since then, I've had friends that are Jehovah's Witnesses, Christians, hey, I'm not going to judge you guys. You guys believe in God, that's great.
That's it.
But don't go around saying that your religion is better than somebody else's. Because I don't think God would want that kind of behavior in us. Period.
Makes sense. Because why, if we're all going for the same thing, why are we trying to pretend or trying to act?
Look, you got the Christians that like to say, "Hey, you get saved, and no matter what you do, you're going to heaven." You got the whole Jehovah Witnesses, kind of the same thing, but we're better than you guys, and no matter what, we're going to heaven because we're Jehovah. I mean, like, we're all going to be judged. Once we get to those doors, we're going to be judged. I'm not saying everybody's going to heaven.
I don't know if I believe, you believe there's a hell? Here's my thing. I always wondered. And
I'm not going to say it's hell, but it's not going to be pretty though.
I wonder what this is right now. Like, I think, like, parts of me wonder if we, have you seen the movie Interstellar?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm wondering if this realm is like. Like, do you have any experience with seeing spirits or angels other than that first priest?
I'm going to be honest with you. Just recently this year, I did see a little girl in my house.
Really? That was the first one I saw. A little girl with curls.
No, this girl was about the same age as my daughter, 4 years old. And I actually thought it was her. And I saw this little girl. This is after I had came out of having COVID and all that.
You had COVID?
Yes. December of 2020.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Yet again.
That's another story.
Right.
So I didn't think no mind, but, I thought maybe she was just going in there to use the restroom.
Wait, you saw the little girl where?
Into the restroom.
In your house?
Yeah. I was laying down in my room and, I had my door open where my door is like literally across from my bedroom. The bathroom is there. So I'm laying down and, just saw a little girl run in there. So I didn't think nothing of it, but I didn't see the light turn on. So I called her, Monty. I got up. Nobody's in there. That freaked me out.
Did you stay in the house?
Oh, I'm not that scared.
Oh, let me tell you, I done had some experience. So the first time I saw this little girl, I was in the car. This is probably like the 90s. This is when this group Immature was out. But we had a skating rink called Northland Skating Rink off of 8 Mile in Detroit. And my sister was going down there, but I was in the car. And so I was in the back seat. And I think I was just sitting in front of the house. Like, I don't know if my mom was in there or something like that. I'm in the back seat. So I'm leaning on the side of the driver's side.
Okay.
So my vision is to the passenger side view mirror. Okay. I'm looking diagonally. And like you said, similarly, there was this little girl and she was just looking like she had this, maybe she looks white. I don't know. I just remember seeing her curls. She had these like Shirley Temple curls that were blonde and it was just like a light. And she wasn't smiling. She was just looking. Now, I've seen a couple spirits and had interactions with the other realm, I guess one could say. But as far as seeing a little girl, I don't know if they were angelic. I think I was at a friend's house in New York in the meatpacking district. And he would always he had a specific spot that he would sit on his couch. Okay. He would tell me everything in the house was already backwards. Now, they may be a different kind of spirit, but since we're talking about this whole realm and all that kind of stuff. So everything in his apartment was backwards. Like you turn up the light, that's off, on. He would tell me there are times that he would come in the house and the cupboards would be open or the eyes on the stove. Right. The gas would just be lit. Baby, I don't know where he was. Let me tell you. I was sitting on the couch one day. I was just, watching the TV and everything is small. And in New York, I guess these buildings were probably built in the 20s or something like that. I'm just thinking older. I must have looked down. There was this little girl sitting right on his couch. I mean, right on the couch. And I'm just like this. And maybe once, get into that realm, but I'm like, I'm not going to mess with you. Just don't mess with me. And she was looking, I'm like, I don't know. I can't even recall if I said anything, but I know it was time to get the hell up out the house. Okay. It's just time to go. But I've had other experiences where spirits have came. I even had like loved ones. Really? My uncle would come. I've even levitated. I know they're like, okay, Dawn, you're crazy. But no, I've levitated and everything. And it's interesting because, I I think you got to experience some things to have this relationship with God. And you know how you're talking about how these religions, I think a lot of things in life, once you have the experience, you only know once you've experienced it, once you've gone through it. Like you can describe all day what love feels like, but until you've experienced love, then you know the definition.
Right.
But I guess in this situation, what I'm thinking about of these moments that have happened and how God has just, like, I know there's a God because my uncle had died and was telling me situations that happened to him when he was on earth that I wouldn't have known.
Right.
I do not subscribe to religion. Like I said, I grew up Catholic, but my mother has always told me there's something. Have you ever heard like the witches riding your broom? And it's like you're in like a catatonic state. You can't talk, can't move, all that kind of stuff. Had that happen a couple of times, right? But I guess I'm thinking about this one time when I was a sophomore in college at Howard University, staying in the Meridian Hill Hall dormitory. I was laying there. And did you ever see the movie Ghost?
Yeah.
With Whoopi Goldberg.
And Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, and you know how like the little things be snickering and they move?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do think there are good spirits and there are demonic spirits. Now, that one time where I think I saw a demonic spirit, but going back to my mother, and it's just interesting that even though I won't say I subscribe to religion, but she's always said, like, if anything's ever happened to you, because we've had things happen in our family, you just start saying Our Father. When I tell you I heard the snickers and when it was just like Ghost, how it was like a shadow. And I couldn't really move, but I know I had risen up the bed and I was clasping my hands. And I just started saying, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, blah, blah, just over and over again. And literally my body went back down. And I'm the girl, listen to me. I'm the girl that's like, Dawn, 1, 2, 3, are you awake? Do we see what's going on? Literally went back down and those dark shadows went back into the wall. And it's just that interesting thing that, you know, you only know if you experienced it.
Right. And I would tell you another experience that I had, and this is at my mother's house, and we were in the living room. And right where we're sitting down, there's a wall, and on the other side of the wall was my sister's room at that time. And there was somebody on the other side banging on the wall.
Ooh, was it an apartment? A house?
No, house, in our house. And my mom's all like, yeah, well, there you go. There's that old man always haunting us. But we just look at it and kind of just brush it off. We don't like go out the door or anything like that. My mom's always told me, if you have a spirit come see you, tell him where he hid his gold or his treasure or whatever. But my mom's always joking about it. But to this day, when I see anything moving, I always try to not freak out. I try to analyze it. Okay, what caused that? And I would say 99% of the time is something that caused it. A wind or a reflection of something. So I wait for it again. And so I don't have to scare myself or scare my girls. And that's what I tell my girls now. If you see something, a shadow or something, it could be your finger, you know, accidentally, you don't even know it. Or it can be the fan or a curtain that moved that gave that little shadow. Just wait for it. If it happens again, see where it's coming from so you don't get scared.
You know, I'm wondering, like, I don't know if I'm scared anymore. I'm not. Because I think it's like, I'm not, you here to do your business, I'm minding my business.
Right.
And I guess maybe that's, you know, kind of like with having your faith in God. Because it's like, I'm still covered. And I'm always in a situation that's like, as long as I mind my business, you mind yours. Because and when I told my friend about the little girl, he said it's a whole family in there. And I saw the father one day when I stayed the night over there. Mm-hmm. He was looking out the window. And I saw him, and I closed my eyes. I mean, and this happened numerous of times, but I realized it's that thing of mind your business. But that's interesting. Do you not want your little girls to be exposed to that or to? Well,
it's funny because we carry these bracelets. My two girls.
Oh, can I see what's?
Sure.
Oh.
It's just so you don't...
Show the camera the bracelet.
So it's basically, so if we go out, we don't bring back any spirits or anything.
Catch it.
Or any negative energy. And just kind of keep it away, basically.
Jeremiah, no, I'm real quick. to take a salt bath, burn me a white candle, put some sage, because I really do think that those things, the energies can come on you. It's like a mood. And so before we go into the next segment, because I had some people ask you some questions. Do you believe in demonic energy and that it can attach to you?
Do I believe in it? Yes.
Okay, maybe we'll talk about that. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back on the second segment, I asked you guys to submit some questions. If you had the opportunity to ask someone a question that died 4 times. So I put it on social media and some of you guys responded. So we're going to dive into that. And then we're going to talk some more about life after death or death after life. I don't know what to call it, but you're right here. Listen to the Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast with the one and only Arturo Prieto. All right, we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite play cousin, Junior.
Hey, what's up? This is Cayman Kelly, and you're tuned in to the Vitamin D podcast.
Get your daily dose of vitamin D with my girl, Dawn Dai. There it is.
Okay, we're back. This is the Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast, and I have a special guest. You've heard the conversation, and we're continuing it. I have Arturo Prieto.
Correct.
He's in because he's died 4 times. Now, this gentleman, you can kind of call him, or not kind of, he is a jack of all trades. We met when he was working with Spectrum, but he's worked in a warehouse. He's worked in the construction field, a technician, and he's died 4 times, and he's coming back to talk about each time that he's died. I don't know about you, but how many times have you heard of someone that has died and came back? Not once, not twice, not 3, but 4 times. And it's interesting because, it makes you really think about your purpose. Like, what are we here for and what are we doing? So before the break, I solicited this online and I told you guys about Arturo coming on. And I said, hey, do you have a question for somebody that has died 4 times? So I got some questions for you.
Okay.
And some of these things I want to know because I'm like, well, did that happen? So a question from @BUP1, BUP1 asks, has anything changed in your mind since dying as far as how you view the world, how you process information, how you interact with people and so forth?
Try to be as humble as possible. I see things a little bit different now. Not the same person as I was when I was a teenager. I listen to people now instead of just judging someone. And I can thank my dad for that. He never judged me. Not one bit. Regardless of what I did, he never judged. And that's where I kind of picked that up. And that's what I try to do now. I listen to people. I'll give you an example. And why I say that everything happens for reasons and why I'm still here. My wife now, I'm not saying she was a bad person. She wasn't, but we meet someone that kind of balances out now. And she balanced me out. And I kind of believe in that superstition and, everything happens for a reason. We've been together for about 19 years now. And everything, I just noticed I put some things out on the table that kind of made sense. We met on 2/8, February 2nd, 2012 or 2013. And her birthday is June 13th. Mine is June 15th. If you subtract the 72 from the 80, it's 8. And if you add 13 and 15, it's 28. So it adds up to 2/8. So, I believe in, that's superstitious.
Right.
We're together now. And I think that's why I had to be here to be able to have 2 more children with her and guide my other two girls to, to help them understand what life is about and also share that with my other 2 kids. Mm-hmm. So
And it's so amazing. Like, you're talking, like you're walking. Your brain is full functioning. You have full mobility. You have breath in your lungs.
Right.
After it was taken away 4 times. My God. You are truly, like, I think, like, we all are miracles because we came here, but like, I don't know, like, people should probably want to touch you and be around you.
You know what? I don't know how I would react to that, but I mean, I hear you.
Jesus did it. But
I hear you. And, you know, like, once again, I had to mention I had got COVID in December, and it was not a pretty sight. If I get sick, I'm like almost nearly dying. So I was
based on your other experiences?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. I didn't even think about that. Oh, dang.
So I really got it really bad. I was hospitalized, and I ended up suffering fractured ribs from it and everything.
Fractured your ribs from COVID?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I guess from all the coughing. Doctors didn't explain it, but I have fractured ribs. I thought it was my lungs because every time I take a deep breath, it was hurting. And they're like, your lungs are fine. And one doctor was like, well, you know, you're breathing. I'm like, okay, but why am I getting this pain every time I take a deep breath? Or if I laid on my stomach, every time I got up, it seemed like I got hit on my lungs. So I went to go see a pulmonary doctor, and he's all like, your lungs are good. You got some scarring, but you got fractured ribs. I was shocked. I was like, from what? How is this even possible? I said, were you doing a lot of coughing? I'm like, every night, throughout the whole night, I couldn't even sleep because of all the coughing.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the next question. This is from Sweet J. She asks, and it's Sweet J _ asks. Okay, let me say it again. Sweet J _ J asks, do you value life more or less after knowing what you have seen / experienced / witnessed at death?
I definitely value my life more now than I did before. I went skydiving. I wouldn't do that now.
Wait, hold on. I jump out of planes and jump off of bridges. I want to, dive in there with sharks.
I wouldn't do the shark thing though.
No. Would you bungee jump now?
No.
Well, let me back up, because that's why it's like, wait. What do you mean you value your life more, so therefore you're not going to skydive? Does it mean that you don't value your life?
Well, I mean, there's always a chance of something snapping. There's always that possibility, and that's just one risk I'm not going to take.
Right.
I got 2 girls now, and I can't think of my adrenaline. I got to think about them. I can't leave them behind.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I kind of value my life a little bit more now. And it's not that I never did. It was just, I like to be extreme. I mean, I like that, roller coaster.
What's your sign?
Gemini.
Well, I'm an Aries. So we in the same. That's still fire, no?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Gemini, Leo, Sagittarius. Yeah, Aries.
So, I mean, there's none of that anymore. There's no more drag racing or going 140, 160 miles an hour.
Whew.
Which I used to do going to Vegas.
For real?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to even front. That is dangerous. I don't want to speak on the wrong comedian, but I just heard a comedian's son, very well known. They were in Glendale here in California. They were in the car and they were drag racing.
I think I did hear something about
just
that.
Just heard it, right? And killed, was it 2 of them or 3 of them? And one is in the hospital?
It was 2 of them and 1 in the hospital, I think.
Tony Baker. I wanted to say Tony Baker, but I didn't want to speak that over him if that was not his son. So prayers out, since you're talking about, just valuing life and the drag racing. But I wonder with myself, when it's time to have kids and stuff, will I be like, no, because here's my thing. My thing is that you can get hit at pardon me, You've had the experience.
Yeah.
You've been walking down the street. And that's why it's so interesting when I hear people say like they don't want to take a chance because they're like, oh, I don't want to do this because I could die, or I don't want to do this to risk my life. But it's like, you're gambling the fact that you're going to wake up breathing. Like, I'm gambling to say, hey, I'm going to see you tomorrow.
Right.
Or until the next time, if there isn't a next time.
And I will tell you, during the time after, the big experience at 18, I was really taking it really hard. I couldn't put myself to understand why I got a second chance. And I used to get frustrated because there's kids out there that never got a chance to see life or feel life. They were taken at a young age. And it really bugged me a lot. And it hurt me to know that I was alive and all these kids haven't had a chance to live their life. But why me? And these kids haven't even had a chance. And I know that 18 is it's a very young age, but, it would bug me a lot.
But do you think you found it, or you're still searching for it?
No, I found it.
Your kids?
My kids.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to ask you this, but when you were describing the man, and your mom said, hey, that sounds like 𝘝𝘪𝘵𝘯, when you saw the picture of him, did it look like him?
Definitely. I carry it with me every day now.
Can I see?
Sure.
Wow. Now, do you guys have any similarities? Like as far as birth dates, any signs? Or, 𝘝𝘪𝘵𝘯. Okay, it's in Spanish. I don't understand that. I was about to read it. Wow. I have with me a lot, St. Francis of Assisi.
Okay.
And it's interesting. My mother would carry it all the time. And I could be misconstruing it. So if I come back or you searching this wrong, forgive me. But he's known to be a speaker of the arts.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's what I do. Like my speaking, my performance and all that. That's interesting.
And, it's one of those things that also, and I'm kind of glad that I was able to share this story with you and bring it out. I mean, maybe this is the reason why I'm here as well, to kind of tell my story.
Yeah.
And, maybe have people believe in God more. Because I've, working at Spectrum, I've seen a lot of teenagers telling their parents that they don't believe in God, because, there's other kids that are atheists or, they just preach what they preach and they want to follow it. They don't want to believe. So there's been a couple of times where I've, I kind of overheard and I would tell the teenager, I said, look,
I died 4 times.
I'll tell you the story of how a saint appeared in front of me. So don't tell me the saints don't say saints are not real when I don't have the proofs, but my eyes are the proof.
Hey, he said coming to give you a vision.
Yeah.
Without the vision, the people would perish. And if you think about God gives us these visions, like it's all a vision. Like our dreams, the life that we want, everything is a vision. Our imagination, everything that keeps us sparking us going.
And I'll give you another, I have an aunt that lives in East LA still, and she's really religious. And there was one time when I think it was about 8. It happened after what happened to me. So I was maybe about 19. She told me about this place in El Monte where there was a tree where the Virgin Mary appeared. And there was a footprint there as well, too. And they think that it was Jesus' foot.
Oh, wow.
Now, we all know what the color of a tree is, right? When I took video of it or pictures, those pictures in that video, full colors of the Virgin Mary were appearing on that video or pictures.
What does she look like?
I mean, just like in any other ones. But I mean, I'm talking about a picture that should have just been the color of a tree, but in the picture.
Oh, you can see the image of her.
The image in color. In color. My aunt still has that video. So, it's more, information for me to grasp and understand.
This just came to me as you said this. Because you were talking about in color. So immediately I want to be like, well, was she brown skin? Was she dark skin? Light skin? And I don't know. This just spoke. Because sometimes I'll have a question and I kind of answer it within myself. But I guess for those who are particular about what the colors and what people are and what they see, and it's like whatever vision appears to you, I guess it's kind of like, I guess, I always tell people, to be like a diamond. We have all these pressures and all these cuts that have been placed on us. And once we step into our light, we shine.
Right.
And there's different hues. And so perhaps maybe that's the same as the experiences that you've had or other people that I've seen, different saints, deities, or, religious figures, is that maybe it's the hue in which you see. It isn't right or wrong. That's just your vision.
Right.
And we get so caught up. Here's the thing. This is the thing that I think, at least for me, and I feel like a lot of people that may be against religion, Dawn feels as though everything is a control and you're telling me how I'm supposed to be. Rather than just being, you're telling me how I'm supposed to be. And if I'm not that way, I'm wrong. Yet in the story of Jesus, you show up as you are.
Right.
It was never a turn away. If you were around this lifestyle and you were still welcomed. At no point in any imagery of Jesus, regardless to whatever shade or hue you see him as, the arms are open.
Yeah.
Yet, I feel as though a lot of people that feel as though they can't walk in the door, be embraced in that, is that oftentimes the arms are closed. Because you're telling me what I can't do and how I'm supposed to be, but I'm just supposed to show up as I am. Because if we're made in the image and likeness, if you say, I am Dawn, he is the great I am. Who are you to say that I'm not who I am when I am who I am?
That's what I'm talking about.
Come on, somebody. And I think if we just tap in a little bit more to that and realize the relationship. We get so caught up in the messenger that you done forgot the whole damn message. And that's the reason for the messenger.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next question. This is from I.A. Velasquez. Hey, Ices. Has your third eye opened up? Meaning, are you more sensitive to energy? Things that you cannot see and only feel?
You know what? That's actually a good question. Because once again, I do believe in God, but I know there's other energy out there. And I didn't believe it until things were just going horrible for me one time. But no, I'm going to say the third eye has not opened yet. But I do believe that there's other negative energy out there. I'll tell you a story where I actually went to a person that reads cards. And I'm not the type to believe in that. This person doesn't know me. But what she told me had me shocked.
What'd she say?
That somebody was definitely out there doing, witchcraft against me. And she would tell me every time that you try to do something right, but it would just go south. And that's kind of back to when I broke up with the mother of my children.
When you were 18?
No. Oh, that's another story.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So, but the mother of my two first children, she was doing all this stuff towards me. I was trying to do the right thing by following what the judge would ask me to do, because she had said that I did something to her, domestic violence, in which I never did. I still got arrested. Typically, from everyone, even lawyers, don't worry about it. You'll get 2 weeks. You did nothing. They don't have no evidence. They don't have nothing. So I'm like, okay. I go see the judge. You're getting a year.
What?
Even my attorney was like, what do you mean he's getting a year? There's no evidence. No, you're getting a year. I'm like, what's going on? I'm shocked. So the judge gave me a year. I only did a third of that time. But regardless, I should have never been in there. So I get out, and I would say 2 weeks after that, she made another false report. And I'm over here trying to do everything the right way, doing, what the judge ordered, staying away from her, no contact whatsoever at all. No calls or nothing. Even though I had 2 kids by her, I went through my sister or my parents if I wanted to see them. And the day I went to go turn a piece of paper to say that I took some classes, there was another case against me.
What?
So after all that, I was like, okay, I got to go see someone now. So when I went to go see this tarot person, she told me of this person. And ever since supposedly what she did, cleansed me, it all went away. Everything started going back in place. I wasn't having any, I want to say, bad luck. Everything was falling back in place.
I do think God has sent, people that are messengers and with different gifts. Like, I know my gift is speaking. Like, my voice, this is my gift. Like, this is what I do. And it's so interesting that you say that, because it was I call it tarot card, call it a psychic reader, but kind of like what jump started me into you sitting right here.
Right.
I made up in my mind. I came up with the decision. I said, okay, I want to, change my eating habits and really like understanding Dawn. And I've been saying this on the podcast about mentally, physically, and now just going in the realms of a spiritual sense and learning in vulnerability at this stage in my life. But it was with this tarot card, reader that I would do my meditation. And it was like me centering with Dawn and really opening up my chakras and putting my vision board. That's why I'm sitting right here. Because this podcast is just now a year here. But I'm just saying the fact that if we get out of the messenger sense, how beautiful the message is. And how this lady, like doing that, could do those cleanses. And that goes back to the first question that we left off of, or the last question we left off of the previous break.
Right.
And I said, how do you feel about these energies and things coming on you? And I always tell people that you got to treat certain people like you got a white outfit on.
Definitely.
You can't have everybody get too close to you.
Yeah. And if you do, carry one of these bracelets.
What do you call it? What is it?
Usually, from my understanding, a lot of times in like Mexican tradition is we put these on babies.
What is the name of the bracelet?
They want to, I think it's called mal de ojo.
Okay.
But obviously I don't have the little eye. This is more for like adults.
Oh, the other one has the all-seeing eye.
It has like an eye.
Oh, which I hear blocks off the evil spirits, right?
Or any just negative. Somebody might have a really strong vibe or stare is what they say. And they say I have it, but I don't see it.
Why did I have to breathe? No, I wouldn't say that, but you have an energy on you. Not bad. I don't know if this bad. I ain't gonna say it's a death energy. I don't know if I felt that, but your presence is felt. But I'm not concerned, because I'll tell Jeremiah in a minute. I'm like, something is not right. I done came back, my nerves are shot. But why?
Yeah. So I'm probably easy to grab onto that bad energy, because ever since then I feel more relaxed sometimes, and I'm not as like, I don't want to say paranoid, but just comfortable, I guess.
And you think about it, that's what we want out of life. You peace, be still. Like, we talk about success. Honestly, what we all want is peace, because you probably want the money because you got to pay for something to strengthen you out so you get peace. You want to be in a relationship for happiness, for peace.
Right.
And even when you said, you said a lot of things, but one of the things that stood out to me the most, when you said that transition, what was it, the 18, where you said you saw yourself getting off the gurney?
Yeah.
You said it was peace.
Oh.
Peace.
I honestly, if I had the choice at that time, I think I would have chose to stay. But I didn't have a choice.
Really?
I mean, I couldn't.
Strong.
I can just tell you on how I felt. It's one of those things where like you're debt free and you don't have no bills. You feel like just all this thing just lifted. And not only that, it was major. I mean, I felt like a newborn, I guess, where you just have nothing to stress about.
Is it? Am I making this up? Don't they say something like in the scripture, like
I have
children?
no idea. But
they say go into the heart and mind like a child, and wow, amen. I caught it. Okay, I got another one. Last question from Meredith McDonald. I want to thank you guys, all of you, for submitting your questions on social media. She asks, do you believe there is life after our human body dies? Is there life after death?
I'm going to say yes. I saw it. I mean, I didn't see all these other people, but it was a start.
There was an existence. There was a knowing, yeah.
I definitely believe that.
And you can't say if you saw clouds or anything. You don't even... It
wasn't so cloud. It was just bright.
You see why we call this the vitamin D with Dawn Dai? Do you see why it's called vitamin D? Because we're shedding light.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So then let me ask you this. Since we're talking about the life after death, have you heard of the Lazarus syndrome?
No.
Okay, so apparently, I guess it means that after you've died, like you come back to life, and whether or not you've experienced or have this thing where you die, you just come back. I guess, Jeremiah, could he qualify? Yeah, brought him from the dead. Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. What did they say? How come you don't have any brain damage? What did they say about that? Organs failed?
No, and I'll tell you why. This, and I don't know exactly his name, but I personally went, as soon as I was able to go back, I went to hug him and thank him for not giving up. Actually, I don't have like a normal scar where they incise you from your chest down to your belly. Mine's actually across from the side of my ribs to the other side. So I have the scar going across my chest, not going from my chest going down to my belly. And it was a quick reaction for him to just react. He put 2 tubes to my lungs to run oxygen to my brain. So this is all what he, told me in details. And I've heard that there was a video of it, which I never got possession of that surgery, because it was just unlike surgery procedure. It was one of those crazy ones. But he told me in details of what he did. And at the moment, he said because he was really in a rush that he cut himself. So our blood kind of mixed together. So he wanted it to check me for HIV at the moment.
He had HIV?
No.
Oh.
No, but he wanted to check if I did.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, you can check me all you want. I definitely ain't going to say no. You just saved my life. I'm not going to say no. So, but of course it came out negative. And he was relieved, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
But it was one of those, I guess, good hands. And also, God was looking after me.
I guess there's a couple things as we talk about, faith in God. And one of the things that you said that you're so grateful for the doctors that he didn't give up. And whether we're talking about our dreams, whether you're talking about getting to know yourself, whether you're talking about establishing your relationship with God, whatever it is, you don't give up. You can't fail if you don't quit.
Right.
And I think sometimes we get that misconstrued because every day we're alive. That means we're still going, we're still growing.
Right.
And as long as we realize that, until we stop, until we give up, that's when it's it. So I'm just wondering, because I talk on this podcast all the time, you have to go after your dreams, how you have to take a chance. Do you have a different way of looking at the things that you go after in life? Like there's always this picture that I see, and there's like these 2 cliffs, and there's a person or an imagery of someone standing on there, and it's like who you are and who you want to be. And then at the bottom it says the leap of faith, because there's a gap.
Right.
Do you see yourself going after things more? Are there things that you won't do except for, that things that can put your life at risk?
I want to say I don't go for those anymore. I let it come to me. And what I mean by that is I'm not saying I'm not a go-getter. I'm not going to go after what I really want. But I just feel that if I push too much, things are going to...
push away.
Right. So I kind of just go with the flow now, and whatever happens,
catch it,
happens. I mean, like I always have this big saying now, everything happens for reasons.
You said that when you first sat down.
We just don't know it at the moment, whether it'll be frustrating or whatever scenario it is. Everything happens for reasons. And it's always something for something better. But like we say, at the moment, whether it's a hardship or it's, you know, obviously it's always going to be something harsh. But it's always something for something better. And it has. And through my whole lifetime, I've experienced that. And it's always been for something better. You know, when my dad passed away, it's been about 7 to 8 years now. And I told my wife this year that I think I'm okay to let it go. For a long time, I didn't want to believe he was gone because I still needed him. But I think that knowing now, not because he's gone, but I'm glad that I'm able to let go, and maybe I've been holding on to him.
Hey.
And I'm being selfish.
Hey.
But, you know, it's one of those things, everything happens for a reason. And my reason is to probably become a better father.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's something I have to figure out.
I'm listening to you, and I guess I got emotional because, well, one, I didn't get a chance to get my thought process to my mom, but even touching on that, like my mom died of stage 4 breast cancer. And I think that was one of the things that, I guess in its way of a comfort of saying that I'm not going to hold on to you. If you're not, I don't know how you're feeling. I don't know if you're okay. The only thing that we're judging is like your blood pressure. But it's that thing of just like if we were to talk about the imagery of Jesus, you don't have to hold it or trap it.
Right.
Because if love is kind and love is free, I don't have to hold it. And I think if we come with that disposition in life overall, because I felt myself getting worked up when you just talk about letting go, because it's just like, if we can really learn to exist, to be free.
Right.
What can you not do? What can you not have?
Right.
What can you not experience? And we get so caught up on judging ourselves every day, and we haven't even got to the real final judgment day.
That's right.
And it's like, you know, I tell Jeremiah this all the time. We you know, as a talk and just mentoring him and just about maneuvering in life of playing your position. Whether, you know, that can be in a relationship, you know, as a father, you know, as a mentor, you do the things that are aligned with what you do so that you don't miss out on something that you could control on or something that's in your realm. And I find that a lot, especially now, like, you know, a lot of people are holding on to a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, because you're trying to hold and grasp. But here's the thing. This whole thing of letting things go and letting it flow, right?
Right.
The one element that we look at that flows is what? Water. We are 80% water.
Yeah.
In fact, when you see water, you know that there's life.
Yeah.
We trying to get to the point to control the water, to control the life. Who said that you were God?
Right.
And I think if we learn to have the grace, the same grace that's preached over and over and over again, the same grace that St. Martin de Porres came to you and said, why God brought you back again, maybe we ought to learn something, you know?
Believe in ourselves.
Come on.
I mean, because a lot of people don't, we forget.
Is it that forget or I'm starting to wonder, and I'm saying this as I'm getting to know Dawn. I've been talking about this on the podcast. Maybe we're afraid. Is that what it is? Can we be afraid of ourselves? Because it's like this. If it's been told how dope you are, you can create life, you can do anything that you want to do, then why aren't we doing it? Why aren't we living in joy? Why aren't we creating the life that we want, Arturo?
Honestly?
Corporate
America.
What does that mean?
I feel that our jobs we have to put our jobs before we have any of what we want. There's a job we have to provide. There's a job. We got to make money. There's always a job. You always have to go out and get what you to provide for your family, whether it's for your kids, for your mom, for your brothers. You want to help people out. You put so much effort into a certain job for it to turn around and see you as a number.
As a doggone. And listen, if anybody, I don't care what company you work at, that email may say your name, but if you see that email somewhere, it's nothing but a number, a list of numbers.
That's right.
I still remember my number from my last job.
Unfortunately, I do too. I hate it with a passion, but I'm sorry. I don't like to use hate. I dislike it.
Wow.
And that's another thing. Hate is a very strong word that I've learned to teach my kids not to use. If you don't like something, say you dislike it. Don't say you hate it. Hate is
venomous.
It's a very ugly word. So I try not to use that word often. I mean, I don't use it at all. I use dislike.
Well, interesting enough, since you're talking about words, I got something over here. This is called the Vita Chest. Pun for vitamin D. But in this box, we have a list of words or terms. Okay. Now, some of this may be related to your field as far as your jack of all trades, the jobs you've done. It perhaps could be related to the conversation about dying. It could be whatever. But the whole point is, it's kind of like this chest. And I guess it's like gems. You know how sometimes you dig deep and it isn't until you pull it up in the light or you show it that the value is there. But just like how we said, whether it's different hues of Mary or just the different shines of a diamond, I want to know what you see and what inspires you when you see these words.
Okay.
All right? Whatever comes to mind. Just the first inspiration or whatever. So you can just put your hand in there, mix it up. Hey.
Access point. First thing that comes to mind is my brain.
Tell me why.
Because without my brain, I wouldn't have access to anything out there in the world.
Hey.
So I will put that right. My brain, second, will be my heart. Heart is to show how kind of a heart I have, and to share that has to start with an access point.
Hello. Hey.
So that's what comes to mind.
Okay, let's go again. We got some more. That was good. And it's always that battle that you talk about, like with the mind and the heart, right?
Yeah.
That balance. All right, what we got next? Why am I whispering like we up on some smooth operator to talk?
Domain. I'm not too familiar with this word.
Domain, like if you go to google.com, like the domain is Google, or...
No, I mean, I've never had to use a word domain.
Okay.
But I have nothing with this one. Domain.
Like okay, well, we'll keep going. We're not going to force anything. Well, since we don't have one, let's see one more. Why am I up here trying to explain domain and you worked for Spectrum? Listen, disregard it, catch it. All right.
Butter.
Butter. Interesting.
I love the butter on my steak. It's what I had before coming. It's what my kids love, steak and butter. Not
sure how that got in there, but it's smooth like butter. And I guess life can be smooth, right?
Definitely. I can definitely concur on that.
Life can be smooth as long as you spread it around and keep it all juiced up, make it tenderized, right? Add a little bit more flavor, more fat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta have that smoothness.
Okay, well, that's it for the Vita Box. So what's going on with you now? We didn't go too much into it, but I'm definitely sending my prayers to your uncle. What kind of work are you doing? Is there any way we can keep up with you or just anything? What's happening?
Like I said, I've been out of work since December.
Okay.
Because of my fractured ribs. So I recently got getting released. So then I'll be back to work, construction. So. the company that I was working for at the time assured me they had my material, my equipment, my tools all safe because I was not going to return because I was infected. I spoke to my foreman. He said, don't worry about it. I got all your tools. When I was ready to go pick up my tools, he didn't have them. So I had time to recover some of the tools, but they were very expensive tools. And I did put them on blast on Facebook on how they didn't want to comp me for my tools. I could understand our tools, if they get stolen, they get stolen. It's happened through numerous years, throughout the years that I've worked as a construction worker. I specifically spoke to my foreman and asked him if he can get all my tools, because it'll be a while before I come back, if he can save them for me. He assured me he was going to save them for me, and they were inside the office. I even spoke to him after, and he assured me, and I got the texts and the emails that they were in the office. When I go pick them up, they're not there. So whenever I try to call him to confront him on them, he kind of, we don't have them. I'm like, but I got conversations that you
have the proof of the, yeah.
You know? Anyways, for a while, they were not responding. So I had to push the issue. So I put them out on blast. I talked to my union rep, and basically they tell me, hey, they could only try to replace some of your tools, but not all your tools. I'm like, okay, but that's not happening either. So once I went on Facebook and I put them on blast, I guess someone in charge there contacted me and said, hey, we're going to drop off some tools at your house. So they did. But we're talking about $2,500 worth of tools compared to what they brought me was nothing. It's a start. I'm not going to say that they didn't try. They did. And that's something I need to update on my Facebook, that they did, provide some tools. But I will be returning back to work in construction next week.
Now, do you ever think that you may go into the realms of possibly teaching the word of God? Teaching about your relationship? I didn't want to say preacher or priest. No. Because that's a lot of pressure, but
I don't want to be fit in that category as a preacher. I do share my information and my stories, with people like you that can, spread it out as well. And that's pretty much what I do. It's not, I don't see myself, sharing this story. But if I have to share, like if I go to a church and the priest asks me to share the story, I will. I definitely don't have a problem.
And it's interesting that when it is organic, because while you stepped away for a second during the break, Dr. Laura was like, so what happened? How did y'all start talking about it? I'm like, I don't even know. I just know he came in with Spectrum and then we just started talking. But that's how you know when the word is powerful and the message, because it's still going to get out there. I
know, because I had that conversation with my wife. I'm like, you know what? I don't even remember how this conversation started. But something had to trigger it.
Yeah.
That I just started talking about it, and here we are.
Wait, and then I felt this. I feel this in my stomach right now. It's so amazing that when you can look at this, and what we say, it's about 3-4 years. I don't think I've ever reached out to you once after you've given me the information.
When you reached out, I was like,
do you remember?
Who's this? Is this a joke? Is this spam? Like, what's going on? And then it just dawned on me. I was
no pun intended or pun intended.
I was like, okay, I remember now. So I was like, okay, we can definitely do this.
We can do it. Don't give up. And here's another thing. It just reminds me when you talk about young people, or not young people, just folks that may not believe in God and understand the magnitude of the love, who's a he or she, whatever, God.
Right.
But the thing that's so interesting, how is it that Somebody gonna trust a name, an email address,
right?
And a phone number.
Well, I did my homework. I did my homework. I mean, definitely it wasn't spam or anything like that. So
no. Oh, no, not that part.
I know, but in general.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So, but one of the things I do want to say is...
but what this I want to say, though, I was going to the reference of just talking about God.
Okay.
And saying how people can use the reference and trust a name, a number, and an email address versus you have God who went on for centuries, eons, in other countries, all over the world, that every person can talk about the experience, and yet you can stand and say, I have no interest or no belief. But this number, this email, somebody know 2 or 3 years, can do the trajectory of the next 25 years, possibly of your life.
I'm going to share something that I found out a year ago. My last name goes as far as Jesus Christ, according to the ancestry.
Really?
Yes. I still haven't done a lot of homework on it, but that's what is showing. And that's something that my cousin also shared with me. So, which is pretty interesting.
That is very interesting. You have any marks that appear anywhere? Anything goes on?
No, but have you seen the movie Infinite with Mark Wahlberg?
Tell me what happened.
Basically, like their soul or their spirit carries on after every, like you can be you, but then you come back as someone else, but them remembering who they are in the past.
Oh, no. I've heard of that.
Pretty good. Interesting.
Yeah.
Pretty.
I think that's what they say sometimes, like when you have like a deja vu or something like that. So we're not going to catch you, I guess, we won't catch you in the pulpit. And if someone may not run across you in person, is there a way that they can follow you on social media that you want to share with the folks?
I do have my Instagram as YFY Guru, Wi-Fi Guru.
I just got that like 10 years later. I was like, Wi-Fi sounds good. Okay.
But there is one more thing that I wanted to share that I felt after is if you're out there and you're struggling or something bad happens to you, don't take it as a bad thing. Just think somebody out there is doing worse than you. So if you have a broken finger, somebody got 10 broken fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give up. Don't give up.
Morette Brown Clark, she said, it ain't over until God says it's over.
That's right.
And it ain't over until God says it's done. Ain't that something?
It's very something.
Sometimes we get in this situation where we want to give up, but you can't.
Nope.
Because we're still alive. And as long as you got breath in your lungs, you're here for a reason.
That's right.
Your heart is still beating, so you're here for a purpose.
Definitely.
And the only thing that we are designed to do is to follow and go through the purpose. And the roadmap is in us. We just got to continue to be on our way. So I guess I want to challenge you with that today. I want to challenge you to live your life truly on purpose and for a purpose. I mean, not everybody's blessed like Arturo, who can say they died 4 times and came back. But you are blessed enough to know that you're here. And you're here for a reason. And sometimes it's going to take time for you to take your chance and figure out your way. But you can't give up. And you can't say, woe is me. And you got to get out this whole narrative of why me? Because then the question is, why not you? Whatever you're going through is setting you up for something else. You realize, like I always tell you, what allows a diamond to shine are the multitudes of cuts that have been placed within it. So whether it's depression, whether it's loss, whatever immense type of feeling that you're going through of unhappiness, uncertainty, you just got to step into the light. I mean, this brother said it right here himself. He said he got to one point when he had died that all he saw was the light and it was peace. Now imagine this. Imagine you doing that here on earth. All you have to do is sign up to be you. And then when I sign up and I decide to step into the light, I'm shining everywhere. I start to edify, then guess what? The next person next to me feels the same thing, and guess what? We all start shining, so then we can all be that light. Because when you can see better, you can do better. And when you can do better, you can be better. And that's what we're here for. We're here to live our life on purpose and for a purpose, understanding who we are and who we want to be. Recognizing the past, but understanding we're working for the future, but knowing that the gift is in the present. I want that for you, okay? Now, I also want to encourage you, if you enjoyed this conversation, make sure you tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody else. It's Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast, and we're going global. And if you enjoyed this interview, you know we're going to have it on the YouTube channel. Vitamin D, you're going to catch it at Dawn Dai Speaks everywhere, okay? Also, what other things we got? Oh, and then also we got advice letters. I want to encourage you, if you'd like to be a guest or if you need some advice on your life, go ahead and send an email. VitaminD@DawnDaiSpeaks.com, okay? What else I got going on? I told you to like, share, and subscribe. I told you if you want to be on the show. Oh, did I tell you that if you need some vitamin D in between time, in the meantime, you can follow me at Dawn Dai Speaks. Yeah, baby. So I think that's it. Unless I'm missing anything, we got some exciting more guests coming up. We got owners of a cookie company. We also are going to talk about fertility. And we're going to continue talking about living purpose and living life, okay? So you know what I say all the time. I'm in the business of making dreams come true. And I damn sure ain't going to forget about mine. So until next time, I want you to always remember that you are your greatest asset. Coming up next on the Vitamin D with Dawn Dai podcast, I talk with CEO and founder of Milk Jar Cookies, 𝘲𝘪𝘵. Tune in as I talk to her about the importance of female entrepreneurship and how she built her company. Yeah, located right there on Wilshire.
Get your vitamin D right here with me and get excited about